Welcome back to Sincerely Self Podcast, everyone. I'm so excited for our guest today. I've only had one photographer on here before, and this guest has such an insane story and such a cool origin to what led them to where they're at. So today we're joined by someone who is better known as Christy the Connector on Instagram. She is the CEO and founder of Photo Walk Nashville and also the co-founder of Photo Walk Your Travel, and she's a travel entrepreneur. Today we are joined by Christy Hunter. Christy, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Lexi. Thanks for having me today. So excited to talk to you.
Yes, I'm so excited for you to just kind of explain your journey into what led you where you are. I think a lot of photographers kind of get stuck in a rut almost of like limiting themselves. And so I'm really excited for you to kind of give us some insight. So, for those of us who may not be familiar with your story, tell us a little bit about you and what led you into photography.
Well, photography has really been the key to unlock a whole new chapter in my life. I think it's such an incredible tool that you can use to do so many things. And so I'm so thankful that that is a skill that I learned and I was self-taught. I'm a mom of four, and so when my youngest child got a little bit bigger, I realized that you could buy a DSLR camera, that it became really accessible and relatively inexpensive. It wasn't this big, unattainable thing anymore to have a professional camera. And then, YouTube was there. So it really, the motivation came out of just wanting to take great pictures of my kids. And that turned into taking pictures of other people's children, which I realized I didn't really love because I had more of my own. So that led
Mhm.
to weddings and then gave me the realization that what I've always really loved and thought was so unattainable was fashion photography. I've always been so fascinated with fashion and models and the art behind that. And so I realized that I could start reaching out to designers in Nashville. And one thing led to another by just asking, really just asking to pull clothes and finding models. And then that was kind of my first realization of being a connector and like pulling different pieces together. So the creative director side of that I really really loved, and that opened up a lot of opportunities to becoming a known photographer. And then one thing was working with a lot of influencers. That really started to happen because influencers liked my style and started posting a lot on Instagram, so they would reach out to me. And that led to the realization of Photo Walk, that I'd be out there on the streets working with these influencers and taking pictures out there in the Gulch. And there was this phenomenon happening of people coming in, like, out of town guests that weren't just on Broadway. They were coming to some of these other little neighborhoods because of the murals, because of the kind of renovation of these neighborhoods. And they wanted their picture taken, and there was no one to take their picture. So I had this thought of like, what if I did that? Like, I'm a photographer and I'd even get asked like, hey, can you take our picture for us? I was like, there's something here to this. And so that idea was born of taking people's pictures on vacation in Nashville, which led to Photo Walk.
Yeah, I think it's so amazing how you emphasized in your story how you weren't afraid to ask. And I think so many times we limit ourselves and we think, oh, I couldn't do that, or oh, they wouldn't want to do that with me. And we have those like limiting beliefs in our head. And you were like, no, I could do this. Like, I could work with them, this meshes, this looks good. And so I think it's so awesome that you didn't limit yourself at all. And you were like, no, I'll reach out to this person, I'll reach out to this place, I'll go here. And you just kind of went where it felt right.
Yes, I've always kind of had that mentality of like, what's the worst they could say? No. Okay. Well, that either means not right now or it's not the right fit. And so I just kind of kept in, and I'm not saying that I wasn't discouraged. There were definitely times I've been discouraged, but I just kind of kept that mindset of like, the inner confidence that I know I love this and I am pretty good at it, and I kept getting better. And so it really just came to this point of like, yeah, I'm just going to keep asking, just keep knocking on
Yeah.
doors. And I still do that. Still.
Yeah. I love that. I love the it's either not right now or not a good fit because that really is the best mentality you can have when you are an entrepreneur and when you're starting something new. Because if you're always focusing so much on the no's and on the not right nows, you won't feel motivated to keep going. So I love how you're like, whatever, brush it off. It's either not meant for right now or not meant for me, and that's okay.
Exactly. And also not waiting for somebody else to come and do something or make something that is like just doing it yourself and figuring it out. And so Photo Walk has really been a journey of blazing new territory and figuring something out that didn't exist before, or if it did, I don't know who did it, and I didn't have anyone to look to in that space. And so I kind of had to look to gain knowledge from people who were in the travel industry instead of the photography industry. And that's how I started to craft the business of Photo Walk and form it as modeling it more as a travel and tourism company rather than a photography company. Because what I had created, those rules didn't really apply over to what we were doing at Photo Walk. So that was a new space, a new territory, and I realized I really love the tourism and travel space and want to be a part of it in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of us who aren't familiar with Photo Walk, give us a little overview of what it consists of.
So the concept behind it was giving people a photo shoot in Nashville while they're here. Maybe not like a full on where it takes the guesswork out of it. It's like you don't have to go back and forth with the photographer of here's my vision and here's theirs. It's really just here's what we offer. And what we offer is a walk around a small area in a neighborhood. So it can be a walk, and we're taking your picture for you. So we're a team of professional photographers, and it's not a service. That was the context of what I had done before, was like, I'm offering a service, here's what I can do for you. But instead I reframe that and put it more as an experience and combining the concept of like a tour, because I've always been that person that loves to show people around and loves to offer recommendations. And so I thought, what if I put those two things together and it's a tour and a photo shoot? Because you don't really want to be taking pictures for a whole hour straight. That's too much. It's too much for a regular person. Even for a model, it's a lot. So, right, it's a lot. So, what if I kind of broke that up with a tour, with storytelling, with interacting and engaging with the people that I'm with? And so that's where the concept for Photo Walk was born. And it but from the beginning of it, I realized it's such an exchange of energy. It's such an interactive thing where I'm learning from my guests, and I call them, guests instead of like clients, because we're having a special hour together where we're getting to know each other, we're establishing trust. But also, I'm able to build them up. I'm able to encourage them, whether they're doing the photo walk by themselves, or maybe they're doing it with a group of friends or their family. I'm able to encourage them, give them posing ideas, direction. It's not just stand there and let me take your picture and I don't know, you figure it out. I'm giving you ideas. And we've even mapped it out so much to where on both of our routes, we give certain prompts. We kind of have different poses that are our go-to poses there. And so our guests just start immediately feeling relaxed. And we've had so many people that say, like, I didn't really like ever getting my picture taken before. Or I'm awkward. I don't like, yeah, I'm not photogenic, things like that. And by the end of it, the biggest thing for me is when they say, you know what, actually, that was really fun. I liked getting my picture taken. That was awesome. I can't wait to see these pictures. That to me is the transformation that is really powerful about what we do at Photo Walk.
Yeah, being able to help people feel comfortable in their own skin. Because, like you were saying, a lot of people maybe feel uncomfortable around photos and those type of things because maybe past experiences they've had, it has been more of an uncomfortable experience. So I think it's so cool that you almost put yourself in the shoe of the guest and you're like, okay, if this were me, what would I want to experience? Or if this were me, what would I want to have? And you've
Yeah.
been able to curate something that people feel comfortable and they're able to like come out of their shell and be like, you know what, I had so much fun.
Absolutely. And it is very curated. And I think that's what people want when they travel. They don't want to have to figure it out, or they pick the location. They don't know. They've never been here
Yeah.
before, or maybe they have, but they don't know. And so just curating something that is like there's the element of surprise on it too. Like you don't know where you're going. Like you can tell by the beginning of it that we know where we're going as the host, but the guest gets kind of that surprise and delight element of it as well, where it's like, oh, where are we going next, and what story are they going to tell us next? And so by the end of that hour, I think people really feel like they got more out of it than they even expected. And we've seen that in our reviews, that people have said this was way more than I thought it was going to be, and like I mentioned, that transformation that happens too of just for example, I've had guests that maybe just went through a breakup. And one girl, especially, she was supposed to come on the trip to Nashville with the boyfriend. They broke
Oh,
up and she came anyways. And she was like, you know what? I'm still going to do this photo walk. I'm going to do it for myself. And by the end of it, she was literally giving me a hug and crying and saying, Christy, thank you. Like you gave me back my confidence. This was exactly what I needed to do. So that to me is what it's really all about. Like yes, pictures are fun, and the whole Instagram culture of like posting and everything, but photos are powerful. Like and even if it's just for the memories, like we've had families that have done photo walk that one of the family members literally passed away the next day after they did photo walk, and I mean those pictures are the last ones that they have together. We've had that happen many times. And so it's like, valuing and cherishing memories when you're on vacation, or, not even on vacation. It can be if you're a local in Nashville and you want to, come celebrate a special occasion or have a date night, or just do something for yourself. Like photos are powerful. Like it really is. I think our secret sauce is the empowerment behind it, and also the importance that we're giving on capturing memories.
yeah. And I love that it's just so genuine. I feel like sometimes with, maybe a staged photo shoot, it might people might feel a little bit uncomfortable. They might be like, "Oh, I got to make sure I'm smiling." But I'm sure by the end of photo walk they're just smiling. They're just happy. They're
Yeah.
just feeling comfortable and you can see that in the photos. You can feel that in the photos. And like you were saying, people having these photos of loved ones that may be passing away, or maybe it's a monumental experience for them and it marks something in their life. They
Yeah.
have these really authentic photos from a really genuine experience that they had that, like you said, probably changed their life. So it's so much more than just like a picture on their wall. It's like a memory for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that we feel it's an honor, that it's really special. We do proposals too. So, to get to be there and capture that moment. I know you just got it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm like, oh, am I supposed to say that on the podcast?
Oh yeah, I've already talked about it. Don't worry about
Okay.
it.
But you just having gone through that and experienced that, like it's such a special moment. It's a once in a lifetime, and to have someone there capturing it that you feel like is a part of it that isn't taking away, but that's adding to the experience, but also capturing that moment in time is just so special for us. And we've had so many times where like the family was hiding and they really come out and then everybody's hugging and it's super emotional. Yeah, we've had guests from like the UK that immediately wanted to FaceTime their family in the UK, and it was nighttime over there. Just all those kind of things that you get to share this special moment with people. And even with bachelorette parties, a lot of people, kind of look down their noses on Nashville bachelorette parties, but it really can be a special time that and we've seen a trend towards much more thoughtful bachelorette parties where it's more about actually doing experiences together than just going on Broadway and getting drunk and forgetting everything you did, that it's more about, hey,
Yeah.
let's do it for the memories. And so I think that type of bachelorette party is really attracted to what we offer. And, what I like to tell them too is, y'all, this could be, this might be the first time and the last time that you've got this specific group together of your
Mhm.
friends, of your inner circle, and y'all are on vacation. Let's get some good pictures, that's something special. And even doing things like breaking it down to, like, let's get a picture of each one of you separate with the bride, with your
Yeah.
friends, so that you've got a one-on-one. So we really try to think through all those things, and like you said, like give people what we would want on vacation, what I would want to do. And I do, when I travel, I want to get pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to be shown around by a professional, not somebody that doesn't know anything about the city, but also is like an insider. And photographers usually know where the best spots are to eat, and they're kind of insider people in general. So yeah, we created something that I would want to get.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you were saying earlier in the episode, it kind of takes the stress almost out of traveling. Like if that's maybe your first time in Nashville, being able to ask someone who would really know the best spots and being able to see some of the best spots just on your tour already and get pictures in some of the best spots without even having to stress and do a bunch of research. You have
Yeah.
someone there that you can ask while you're on the tour, and you can also see some of the best parts just while you're there. And so it kind of takes that stress of, oh, what are we going to do? We need to find this, we need to find that. It's just like you can be present and just enjoy the moment.
Exactly, exactly. And even from an insider perspective, like, there's a lot of the murals, if you try and look them up online, a lot of it's inaccurate information. There's still murals that are listed on Google that aren't there anymore, or it might have changed. So our job is to stay up on all of that information, and to really have a pulse on the neighborhoods and what's coming in. And we even work, closely with some of the artists. Kelsey Montague, she's the artist of the Wings. She's incredible, which is Nashville's most famous mural, and she's
Yeah.
incredible. We have a personal relationship with her, and if she's doing something new, we get to hear about it. And so I really try to be kind of a liaison between the artists and the different businesses that are coming in too, and partner with local businesses to be able to show people the best spots. But yeah, if you're coming in, you might not know, you might not, that it's really confusing. And a lot of people I'll see in Facebook groups will be like, where's the best murals in Nashville? And it's like, well, that's a very open-ended question. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and to see them all is really difficult to, you'd have to really drive around. So
Mhm.
what we've done is taken the two best neighborhoods that have the best photo spots and given you the choice between those two neighborhoods.
Yeah, like already done the research, already looked around at all the murals and been like, okay, if you want
Yep.
the best experience, this is where you're going to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And created a route, like a curated route, to where we even by the minute, kind of, we know the pace that we're going to, we know where we're going next. And sometimes it's a little bit like, we'll adjust it based on the guests, if I know, like, maybe they're a family with kids, then maybe we might skip a couple at one and go to another spot, that sort of thing. But the other unique factor about Photo Walk is that it can be private or public.
Oh,
So we kind
wow.
of based it, instead of like a photo shoot, we we made the pricing and the admission more like a tour. So you can buy a ticket for the public tour that's a lower price point, and you could be on it with different people, just like you would if you went on a tour in the UK or something. So
Yeah.
then if you want to do it private and it's just you and your group, you can do that as well. So there's that other element too, of when it is we call it a mixed group, when you've got people who have bought the public tickets and they're coming on the same one, then it's kind of almost like a blind date.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Absolutely.
And we make
Uh-huh.
sure that people are getting to know each other. And I'm telling you, Lexi, by the end of it, people are making new friends. It's really a fun thing to do as like a solo traveler, or maybe it's just you and a best friend that wanted to come to Nashville, but it's like, hey, let's do this. And yeah, we might meet some other people on this. It's a little more of a social experiment, but I'm telling you, almost all the time it goes even better. And people are hyping each other up. They might have just met, but they'll be like, yeah, girl, you look amazing, or giving each other ideas for poses. So it's really such a positive environment, and such a positive experience that um, we haven't had anybody go away and saying that they didn't have fun. We really haven't, out of the thousands of guests, unless you
Yeah.
just haven't told us, but the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive that this is something that folks really enjoy. So that makes my heart happy as a founder.
Yeah. Yeah, it really brings back the genuine human connection. Like you were saying, some of these strangers might be meeting on like the public tour, and
Yeah.
maybe they leave with a new friend,
Yeah.
someone who might even be from a different country,
Yes.
and just from meeting on this tour. So it's insane the way that people feel fulfilled when they leave.
That you said it right there. Human connection is what it's all about. And that there's just something that's so like it's so hard to find now, and even just when you see people out at dinner or, at a restaurant, people are on their phones, they're not connecting. So this is something that, I rarely see people even take their phones out when they're on photo walk. It's at least an hour in
Wow.
the day where you're not checking your phone. You don't know what time it is. You don't care. You made it there on time, you're good. That is kind of that relief factor of like, and the element of being in the moment that you can give
Yeah.
to people, that gift of like, let's just talk, let's hang out, let's take pictures, let's walk around and explore. And it's fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's so rare nowadays to find people just being present in the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone is, zoned onto their phone. Everyone's guilty of it, being zoned onto
Yeah.
their phone, especially when they're traveling. And so having people have a space where they are like, I want to be present, like I'm forgetting to check my phone, is
Right.
so amazing
Yeah.
because it's like you were saying, it's so hard to find.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, Christy, you are launching a new consulting business. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, with being a creative entrepreneur who started in one industry and then had to learn a new one,
Mhm.
and without even any college background, I think that just some people have it in them to just a drive to learn, and maybe when there is that pressure, it makes you accelerate your learning even more. And so, over the last 7 years, having pioneered the new territory of combining a photo shoot and a tour business in one, and learning the business side of that, the back end. How do people, what platforms are we on? What does marketing look like? How are we packaging and pricing this, and product development, all of that. So I connected with somebody else who was doing a similar photo shoot tour in Nashville as well. And she and I clicked and we became business partners and have been for the
Wow.
last 5 years. And it's awesome. So she and I realized that people were coming to us and asking us to help them with their tour business. And or even maybe it's not a tour, but maybe it could be somebody in retail, like a jewelry store that wants to offer a charm bar experience, and they want to be able to distribute it to the bachelorette parties or people coming in from out of town and asking us for advice. So we said, you know what, let's make this a little more of an actual business here, and launched Highlight Consulting. So we are in the very niche down experiential side of consulting. So very excited about that, and how we can help people, be able to develop out their own experiences and understand res tech, understand OTAs. What do those words even mean? Which companies right for you? So really just in a very non-business corporate way, be able to walk with people and help them through this process. To be, maybe you have an idea. There's so many cool things in Nashville where it's like we've got some friends that do like a record paint on a record experience. maybe
Yeah.
whatever it is that's your secret sauce. I have a friend in New York who has a sandwich tour, like whatever it is that you love and you want to be able to share with the world. And maybe it's a side business, but it's turning into a bigger thing. Maybe you're right at that point. Then we can come in and help and get that distributed and show you the things that we've learned over the last 7 years.
Yeah, it's so cool to hear just like how it came to be. A theme that I talk a lot about on the podcast is viewing the world as your teacher and always wanting to learn, always wanting to grow, and always being up to trying new things. And I feel like you are such a perfect example of that. Like all of these stories, it's like you just weren't scared to hold yourself back. You were like, you know what? I feel drawn towards that. Let me give it a go. Let me give it a try. And you've been able to curate these amazing businesses out of it. And they're so authentic because it's just something that you genuinely were drawn towards. And you were like, you know what? That sounds so cool. Let me dive into it.
Hmm. Yeah, and learning too that it's okay to that if things don't work out with it, or like
Yeah.
the art of failing, like it's okay to realize like, hey, that wasn't the best decision. Let's try something else, like it's okay to learn that not everything you attempt works out, and that it's okay to try something else, but not to give up in the middle of that, not to let failure define you, or to like get stuck in that of like, hey, let's try something else. So we've been self-funded too. We haven't taken out any business loans or anything, so everything has really just been, there's been that pressure of like, hey, every investment, everything that we have realized, like, hey, this is a necessary tool. We got to put money behind it. It's just come out of our own pocket. So, there's no big investors behind this. It's just been a lot of learning experiences and trial and error.
Yeah. And that's truly the best thing that there can be in a business is just that genuineness behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. And staying true to who we are too. I think
Yeah.
there's been a lot of influences along the way that have been like, oh, well, you could do this or you could go that way. And then just really honing in like, no, this is our North Star. This is what we are really passionate about and what we do best. So, we could, yeah, sure, we could have photo walk weddings or whatever like that. Or start in 20 different cities, but that's just not the trajectory that we're trying to do. We want to really, really hone in and make Nashville special. But we did this year launch in Charleston as well, though. And we're really excited about Charleston. We have one of our team members from Nashville. She moved. And when she did at the beginning of this year, she was like, I just want to stay connected to you guys. I love working with Photo Walk. And we just felt like, hey, maybe this is the time to actually go into the city that we've had our eye on for a while. It's really like a sister city to Nashville. And so the timing was right. And we opened up there in April of this year, and it's been booked ever since. So we're
Wow.
excited to ramp up things in Charleston this year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so exciting also that it kind of came from one of your team members moving there and being like, you know what? Yeah, let's branch it out. Why not?
exactly. And I think that's the biggest key is if you are trying to, expand your business into a different market, that having the right person there on the ground is the most important thing. Like you could have the best model all day long, but not having the right staffing there to operate, then it's not going to work out. So, and having to go and find people there in that city, it definitely has its own set of challenges as well. So that was half the battle right there. And she's so incredible. And so it just, yeah, it was all the elements were there. And when that element came into play, it was like, it's go time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the last question that I want to pick your brain on, Christy, is what advice would you give to a new photographer who's just starting out?
A new photographer, who there is so much advice I would give to them, but
Yeah.
I would say have fun with it. Like learn the camera, learn the craft of it first. Don't put the pressure on of trying to run a business just yet. First of all, get your craft right and then learn how to run a business. And then also just keep practicing, just keep on. And I think too, making sure that you don't lose the joy and the your motivation behind being a photographer. That's been something that, as you know, as I've grown, I'm realizing like, man, I'm not even shooting that much. I'm just, I'm now, and that's okay for my life and for my trajectory that has happened. But I always want to, when I get behind the camera, have that special feeling of like, this is a gift, like I'm able to offer this to someone as a gift, and whether whatever context it's in, that it's a special thing. It's really really special, and it's an art, that it's an art
Yeah.
form that is, has changed, where it's been made so accessible, like everybody thinks they're a photographer because they have a phone. But I want to preserve, the professional side of photography, and the artistic side too. So I'd say just practice and learn, and don't lose the wonder of it.
Yes, that's amazing. You're so right. It really is such an art form and it's such a cool talent for people to
Yeah.
be able to have. Because like you were saying, you might think you're a photographer because you're taking pictures on your phone, but real photography is so much more than that.
So much more. Yes, yes. And it's changed. I mean, even my grandfather was a photographer back in the 50s. And I mean, to look at, he's gone now, but I have his camera and it's like this big and it's got this thing. It's like so crazy the way science, has changed how we see photography and technology. So I think just holding on, like embracing change, embracing the new, but also like preserving that special piece of it, the art form of it, is really important.
Yes, such good advice. Thank you so much, Christy, for sharing your beautiful story. Really, I feel like it's so inspiring, and it just shows that having the mindset that you can achieve will get you through all of the failures, all of the no's, and help you get to where you're meant to be.
That is so right, Lexi. I am so thankful for you having me on today. Really enjoyed talking with you.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. And I will have all the links for Christy's Instagram in the description, also for Photo Walk Nashville and Photo Walk Your Travel, as well as her new website for her consulting business, so that you guys can go and check that out. Thank you again, Christy, for joining us today.
Thanks, Lexi.
Yes, and I will see you guys next week.